Council of the Township that the Council of the Township of Almatal will move into a public meeting under the Ontario Building Code Act, Section 7.6 on November 12, 2024 at 1:42 p.m. I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councilor O'Neill, seconded by Councilor Ainsworth. Discussion? All in favor? That motion's carried. First, we're going to have a report from our 2025 building permit fees and charges, and this is going to be presented by our Chief Building Official, Don Butwell. Don, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you. To the mayor and to members of the council, good afternoon. I'm here today to speak to the report of the LD 2024 building permit fees and the proposal to increase such starting January 1st, 2025. As outlined in the report presented, Section 7.1 of the Ontario Building Code Act, provincial legislation, should be acted by law as well as municipality, township case, collecting prescribed fees, respecting costs of administrative specifically building permits. Section 1.9 on 1.21 requires the following rationale be provided as public information. Number one is the estimate cost. Costs and fees associated with the costs are presented on a yearly basis. Year-end report, which will be presented to council at the end of 2024. It is important to point out that the last increase in establishment of fees was carried out in 2016, 8 years ago. And the average to administrate the act from 2019 to 2023, the 4 years previous, was $225,595. That was the cost to the township and the building department carry out duties associated with that. During the same period, the cost of building permits for all the township were on average of $186,709. Clearly, the 2016 cannot sustain the operation of the building department on those rates. One of the second requirements for rationale is to speak about the fee amount of change and the rationale for proposed change. When recovering and receiving the historical consumer price index 2016, 2024, Bank of Canada statistics, there's been approximately 20.5% increase over 8 years in this index. Both commercial and residential costs have increased. Fuel, heat, hydro, insurance, salaries and benefits, depreciation costs, vehicles and equipment have all increased while building permits have increased. So the question is, how do we establish these rates? When we take establishment, we took a look at the yearly CPI COLA cost year over year, starting in 1.4% in 2016 up to 6.8% in 2022, and adjusted accordingly, we're saying that the fees bottom line overall increased to 20.5%. One thing to look at here is we're going to speak specifically to a single family dwelling, approximately 50 feet, or roughly that 20.5%. So $500 for the currently for a residential family, family dwelling sits around $2,500. So the 20.5% increase, that puts that about just over $3,000, $500 increase. The $500 increase is extremely minor when looking at the cost. It is also important to note that the base fee increase ranges close to that currently exist between costs and revenues associated. Going forward, I propose a 1.75 increase each year, 2026, 2027, 2028. To keep pace with rising costs. This model can be revisited every 4 years. It is a very similar model in this township. And it's well accepted that we reach the department in line with rising costs to reduce the gap between fees and expenses. This also allows for executive council terms to revisit and establish a structure every 4 years. So for example, today what we're speaking about this, and this term of council has the opportunity to comment and approve. It also gives the next term of council, whether it be or new, to revisit a 4-year plan. This will prevent us from sliding backwards and keeping pace. To ensure as best possible, provide for 100% cost recovery, and as to the act, build and provide for a building reserve, a reserve which is established solely for building purposes, to cover costs in slower years, reduce permanent costs, plus the additional fees that come from vehicles, technology, changes in staffing, contracts, and so forth. It is unreasonable for taxpayers to put their tax dollars towards another person for construction projects. The township has the ability to recover costs of doing certain things. That's not all how much you do the cost. Example, spend dollars, check the benefits of the field, as opposed to you can see that it's not always going to be able to be a plus. Also, want to point out, fees increases one that is not anticipated because of the cost. That we get 1.75% and it's relatively small. When we have seen issues as high as 6.8%. This will help as part of the administration and the force of the IFC will also help ensure that we can continue to focus on small dollars adapt change, building code changes, technological changes, and so forth. It's like we say that with increasing the fee and permits, it's not only reduced since it has to be 2016. It's also necessary to ensure viability and department's ability to deliver essential services in time of demand. Going forward, the annual increases for line increases in costs to new business and ensure that future increases while still supporting the department. I have to take any questions if you're having.
Good report. Thank you very much, Don. Any questions from the council? Go ahead, Councilor O'Neill.
Just related to when you were talking about how you justify costs, and I'm looking at your numbers and how they vary over years. They're fairly set. The wages are the same, whether or not, but the number of permits really vary. And is there any mechanism or any direction given in the building policies on that?
I'm not sure if I understand the question.
It's just that it is unpredictable, the number of permits, right?
Yes.
So is there any mechanisms for dealing with or addressing the fact that costs are constant, of permits go up and down, or that's just a best guess from the municipality to try and do somewhere? Okay.
It's thank you. It's a better attempt to reach those different margins. We don't know how much permits are going to be issued here going forward this year, we have an idea when we go forward, how many permits, depends how large the developments are. I noticed since in the 6 short weeks I've been here, the geographic landscape of all of Poland being so large. There's a lot of costs associated with our time, fuel, and efficiency getting around the landscape. Do we know how many permits will be next year? We don't. But there's a trend, and we see the trends, always see how we're or some years they go down. Depending on the 20%, the COVID is huge. A lot of people weren't spending money, trips and vacations, they weren't allowed to, so they were dropping. And conditions, things like that. The world is opening up again, so we may start to see a slight decline as people sort of venture outside of the neighborhoods again. There is no mechanism to determine how many will be there.
Yeah, and thank you for giving that as, because that does.
Any other questions or comments? I guess being around a little bit, I've seen this go up and down. As the expenses remain relatively level, because maybe I'm saying the same thing Mayor Catherine said. We remain relatively level, but it's going up and down, and we're probably, I haven't started into the up yet, have we?
Not this time.
Okay.
Still, when I looked at the numbers I was given, there was a significant shortfall in 2023. I'm not maybe out just the redevelopment was coming into the municipality, getting through the planning stages. But otherwise, it is really hard to predict.
Yeah. I think I will make a comment. From 2018 or whatever it was, for about 5 or 6 years, Glens of Antrim was being constructed. And there was several places that were building outside the hamlets, but I don't think that is picked up again yet.
Not as significant, not that I've seen.
Yep.
Now they're significant. We have right now, which is starting to ramp up Grafton Heights.
Yes.
Down on the main street there, there's more permits of condition. That's a 41 lot parcel of land. 41 is a significant number of single family dwellings. However, we know they're not going to be able to get 41 in 1 year.
Yeah.
We stretched over years.
Yeah.
As the developments come true, that's our only mechanism. Get an idea of what's going to fight in 2, 3, or 4 years.
Okay. And what about commercial? That would fit in there as well?
Commercial would there. I haven't seen any evidence of significant commercial development yet. I've only, like I said, in the short term of the year, we're still looking for a plan of a little bit of commercial development. I haven't gotten my full breadth of understanding where it lies here. I think there's a lot of farming operations with that, but I haven't seen a lot of commercial.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
The only comment that I'm going to this report is that so much is tied into the high interest rate. The interest rates are coming down, so that would certainly
Good point.
make it change. You could be busier.
Yes, I forgot to mention, you're right, interest rates are coming down. My spouse is a real estate agent, and I can tell you that since the interest rates are coming down right now, so I think with that, we'll see people spending more than supposed to come again. It just depends on how they choose to spend it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions from the council? I believe we have someone virtually on today, as this is a public meeting. They have an opportunity to ask questions. So please state your name. If you, or pardon me, first of all, let us know that you want to ask a question, and then state your name, and you can go ahead and ask the question. Thank you. It looks like we haven't got a response to the issue. So we're gonna assume that this person has no questions. There's one person on. Okay, next we need a motion to rise from the public meeting and reconvene to a regular council meeting. Are you moving a seconder for that, please? Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover, seconded by Councillor Ainsworth. Any discussion? All in favor? The motion is carried. And we have to make a motion that what was discussed is approved as well, so that the recommended motion is that
This
Yeah.
is coming out of it. Yep, so you're done. Yeah. 158. You've already come in, so you're good.
okay, thank you.
That was 8 seconds. So you get your point.
Okay. Next, we're moving on to committee reports. And our first report is 8.1. And it is recommended the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Alma Alderman enact as follows. That agenda items 8.2 to 8.5 on the November 12th, 2024 regular council meeting agenda be received for information. I get a mover and a seconder, moved by Deputy Mayor Slover, seconded by Councillor Booth. Are there any reports that you would like to highlight? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, through you, Mario. Well, it has to do with the water board committee minutes. It's just a couple of things. It has you reading the territorial land acknowledgement. I did speak to Madam Clerk about this previous, so she's aware of it by just putting it on there. The other thing is, members present, would it be more appropriate to say, chair Booth, Greg Booth, rather than counselor?
Good point. Any other questions or comments? Go ahead, Councillor Ainsworth.
Through you, Mayor, I want to bring up the Trent Hill, or sorry, the or Trent conservation part of it here, because I just don't want to miss out the conversation that we might have to have about in there to talk about the budget. So I'm wondering, do we have any direction from council where that might want to go? Or if that can not be taken up tomorrow?
So you're asking that, should we discuss the budget that they're proposing
Yeah,
or put it at some other place? I would say we might as well discuss it right here, should we not? Was it part of the,
well, it's in the very minutes.
yeah, it was in the old minutes. And actually, I meant to bring it up during the old minutes. That's the proper thing to do.
Which person?
Pardon me?
Which
I
way?
know,
Budget conversation should be followed to budget deliberations.
Okay. That's probably what it is, that they come in, we're gonna finish on budget. Well, after they put out their budget.
It's
So
not-
we're gonna be, they put in 12% or something like that.
We still have to. approve it.
Yeah. We'll wait till budget discussions. Or that's what's recommended.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, it's been one person.
go ahead.
it just has to do with the September 9th meeting minutes of the Lower Trent. And it's an interesting comment made by the city of Quinte West that they limit their increase, Lower Trent, and limit their increase to 5%. So I just wanted to put that on the table because I'm just not sure how a committee member could come up with that, but they put it forward and I just wanted to mention it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike, was that, you mind discussing that a little bit? Or is that actually what happened?
Yeah.
And can we support that?
Well, it was from one of the board members that we had directed to this council. That, because we had sent the budget committee back to reevaluate what they had brought to this, to the board. And, then this year was part of it here where, for the Quinny West was to let the board know that they're staying at 5%. What they would like to see their increase at.
So is there any reason why we wouldn't ask that as well? Or we can't ask it?
Well, that's kind of what I'm asking. So we have direction from council to where we want to go with our increase.
You want to make that motion?
Well,
Or if you want to make the motion, then we can discuss it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's been moved by Mike to,
Before, right, to receive information.
oh, okay,
So we'll go through different.
okay. So we gotta finish up the other ones first. We're gonna come back to that, Mike, because we've already got it, this one on the floor, this
yeah,
motion.
sounds good.
So we'll do it this afternoon.
Yeah.
Anything between 8.2 and 8.5? Go ahead, Councilor Booth.
Just through you, your worship, to Councillor Ainsworth, who's on the lower trend. So can you remind me, Mike, what was the increase last year, and then what are they asking for this year now?
Well, last year ended up, I'm gonna say 3.2%, or sorry, 13.2%. But then you had to calculate into category 1 and 2. So the same thing will happen this year, so it's at 12.5% this year, plus category 1 and 2.
So more than what last year was.
Probably less. A little bit less.
If I can, I think it was about 19% when you added those two on.
So we're roughly gonna be about a 30% increase in 2 years.
More than that. More than that, because if I understand, Mike, the 12% they're proposing is part of it, and then they also have the increases like they did last year in category 1 and 2 or whatever it was.
Wow.
Okay, anybody, that's a pretty good comment. I know where you're coming from. Go ahead, Councilor.
I guess maybe one to the deputy mayor, then have you had any discussions yet budget wise of what they think? Kanaraska is coming in at? Usually historically, what I've seen, they're a lot lower than Lower Trent.
Through you, Mayor Noble. Memory serves me right. I think it's between 3% and 4%. If I'd known I was being asked this question, I would have had the percentage for you. But it will be coming up this month again in the Ganaraska agenda. Thank you.
Go ahead, Councilor Booth.
So I'm just wondering, Mike, through you, your worship to Mike, is that ever discussed with Lower Trent to say how historically is Ganaraska always coming in at 3, 4, 5%, which is reasonable, and these guys are now like 30% in 2 years. I just don't get it.
Councilor or Deputy Mayor Stover.
The only comment I would have, and that would be through you, Mayor Lobo, is that the strategy that the last board members used was maybe not sustainable. They were funding new staff positions through reserves. Here we are. Their strategy has caused issues. I wasn't at the table then. I don't know what the thought was, but this is what we're dealing with because of the strategy that they used. The only comment I would have.
And you're talking about Lower Trent.
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mike.
That's what you're there. I think that they're feeling the same things that we are here when it comes to staff. They're understaffed and they've been understaffed for some time and they're overloaded as much as we are. So they're just looking to fill some new positions and get some more people on board. And I think that was probably the biggest part of it.
Okay. So this is to receive for information. If you want to talk about it a little bit more, then we can come back at it right now. And we've got a motion on the floor to receive.
Yeah.
All in favor? That's carried. Do you have another motion that you're considering, Mike, or?
I wonder if it should be enclosed.
Not sure why it would be enclosed.
Well, just to talk about things and how they've gotten to that number.
I mean, because I would have to discuss it right for the next meeting. If the discussions on budgets are open.
Yeah.
Criteria.
In order to be it closed, we'd have to meet the criteria of the closed meeting. And from what it sounds like, I'm not sure if we've got the naming people or contracts or anything like that. So I'm not sure if it could be. We could
Maybe next meeting.
I would suggest probably we could have it next meeting. I don't want to take that away from the clerk. You should probably discuss it, what you want to do.
I think basically, you know, I need some direction from council, what we can accept. Not saying that's what's gonna work to get overridden with the vote, but at least we can go back and see what we as the township can.
So would you like to make a recommendation or put a motion through that you would like to keep it at 6, 7, 10, 20%? That's all we can do. That's what they did too, correct?
The budget committee come out with their numbers,
Yes,
and then of course, they went back and come out with the existing numbers,
yes.
right?
And didn't someone, I think Deputy Mayor mentioned that someone had, part of the committee, but not the budget committee, had put in a 5% increase, recommended a 5% increase on, from a municipality. I forget what it was, Lower Trent or Trent Hills, Trent West. So would you be willing to put forward a motion similar to that?
Yeah, I'm not so sure it's fair.
Okay, well, if you're not gonna do it, then that's fine.
But, you know, I guess that's what I'm saying, if we could talk about it as a group before we put that number forward.
As long as, and you're gonna have to talk with the clerk to make sure that it does meet the criteria for a closed meeting.
So,
Go ahead.
so through you, Mr. Mayor, for matter of procedure, so items relating to budgetary discussions are not closed sessions. They don't meet the criteria outlined in section 223 of the Municipal Act. So if you're looking to make a recommendation or a motion to put before council in terms of recommending a specific percentage increase that you want to send back to Lower Trent, saying this is what we're willing to, from what I'm understanding from what you're saying, this is the percentage we're willing to accept. That would be an open session discussion. You could make that motion, get a seconder, and then from there you can debate whether or not the percentage is appropriate, if that needs to be amended, or if you would like to proceed with having that reported back to Lower Trent, you would then call the vote on that.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Mike.
So last year was 13.2, this year's 4.5. Category only 2 is what it is, right? So, I mean, we accepted it last year, we should accept it this year.
Go ahead, Mayor
That's a
Gaza.
little low.
I just want to remind everyone that resolution on October 10th, resolution 7, that a letter be sent from staff to Lower Trent Conservation Authority requesting a reasonable budget increase based on cost of living amounts. That letter, as far as I would imagine, covers anything.
So that's already in the queue to be done as part of the budget process. So it's already been discussed, but if there's specific, so the original was the cost of living. So if you're looking for specific percentage,
Yeah.
but that letter is already in the queue to be sent for budget.
The letter's ready to be sent. Is that what I hear?
Yeah.
The letter's ready to be sent, but we haven't sent it yet. And it was to, as Eric Catherine said, to bring it to the cost of living, which is probably 2 and 2.5%. If you're happy with that.
Accept the 13 cent last year and the 4.5 this year, and we accept the 12.5.
Is that your recommendation?
Yeah.
Moved by Councillor Ainsworth, give me a seconder.
Sorry, can I clarify before?
Yep.
So you were saying, as opposed to what we did in the October 10th meeting, your recommendation at this point is we accept the request for an increase?
Yeah, because they dropped it down to 12.5% for us. So they went back to the table and made some changes. And, you know, considering from last year and this year, it'll probably in the ballpark.
I guess, okay, go
Sorry,
ahead.
and I'm just clarifying then, is this the position you want to be able to take back to the meeting that you're asking for at this point, so that our council, based on your knowledge from being attending the meeting, as we should be supportive? If that's what you're asking for, I'll second that.
Okay,
Through you, Mr. Mayor, can I get clarity on what the exact motion on the floor is to be? That's being moved and seconded.
The Lower Trent sent an email to Dave and I with the budget numbers, and I agree with the 12.5. In total, plus category 1 and 2. With the initial increase in the 12.
go ahead.
So sorry for clarity. So the motion is that council accept the 12.5% increase from Lower Trent? Is that what's on the floor and moved and seconded?
From my understanding was that we're not approving budget right now, we're approving that our representative at the meeting says that we are.
Oh, it's gonna have to go on budget.
Well, no, I'm actually asking if they accept the 12.5%.
I don't have the document.
We'll need to know by December. I'd have to look at my email to see what they're,
So is it okay if we wait till December? And if that's true, then we'll have to cancel the motion.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, as a matter of procedure, so Councillor Ainsworth has made a motion that council accept the 12.5% Lower Trent annual increase for the 2025 budget. So that is a motion that he's put forward. So at this point, you'd be looking for a seconder, or the motion would fail without would not proceed for lack of a second.
Okay, I think you do have a seconder. Councilor O'Neill.
Just to clarify, my second for that position, he can take it with me.
Go ahead, Councilor Booth.
Through your worship, Mike, so when do you need an answer, Mike? I'm not in support of going back to them and saying 12 point something % just because we did it last year, that it's okay this year. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, it's unreasonable.
So it hasn't been seconded yet.
But when do you have to have an answer?
Plus 1 and 2.
So as we discussed, and the mayor said, we're going to be over 30 something % in the 35% range or whatever.
I don't have enough information to support anything. I don't have this.
That's what I'm asking, like, when's your next water meeting? Are you meeting in, have you met already for November?
it'll be coming up here,
This week.
Plus the fact what your cabinet versus what's
Okay.
O'Neill said.
Give us-
Can we
We already made a motion to send the letter.
Can we stop for a second? Mike's moved it. Here, Catherine, I understand that you made the comment that not with clarification, that's the wrong thought, but with an amendment. So, Mike, your motion is that we, go ahead.
So the motion put forward by Councillor Ainsworth is that council accept the 12.5% increase presented by the Lower Trent Conservation Authority for the 2025 budget.
Okay, can I get a seconder for that? Can I get a seconder for that? No seconder. That motion is defeated.
So can I just get clarification, that letter that we talked about, that's going to be sent to them then?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
That should complete all of the communications. Next one is fire department reports. Fire apparatus plan update, CAO 2024-22. Fire apparatus plan update, the 12th of November 2024. So Dave, do you want to bring that to the table?
Sure, thank you, Mayor. Through you, Mayor, to council. So this report identifies the procurement plan that was previously adopted by council. It identifies that there was a delay in the first order and where things were supposed to be. I've also included the opportunity to push an apparatus off and continue on with this plan. In review with Aaron, when we look at this, originally we were supposed to go and borrow some money to implement this plan in the total dollar value, but we did not have to due to delay of ordering equipment. So this is just keeping up with the existing plan that's in place, and then moving things forward. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Any questions or comments from, go ahead, Councillor Booth.
Through you, your worship. Looking at all of this and we got this late last night, I'd like to defer this request until the next council meeting so that we can look at this, because I have some numerous questions which I wouldn't want to bring up here.
Wait, before we debate, I'll read the motion.
Okay.
That council authorize the sole source purchase of a fire apparatus from Battle Shield Industries Incorporated for a cost of $711,250 plus HST as specified in RFT T032023, and that a bylaw be brought forward for consideration to authorize the mayor and the clerk to execute a purchase agreement with Battle Shield Industries Incorporated for a fire apparatus at a cost of $711,250 plus HST. Please go ahead. Councillor Booth?
Okay, so
Oh, we need to move in a second. Councillor, moved by Councillor Ainsworth, seconded by Councillor Deputy Mayor Stover. Councillor Booth.
okay, I'm hoping that the other councillors will agree, but I think this motion should be deferred until, like I said, we received this late last night. We're going to be looking at the fleet schedule, and I have numerous questions about the purchase of this and things like that. I'd like to defer it to the next meeting when we come forward, and I'm hoping whether it can be the mayor and another councillor or the people that sit on the corporate, I'm not sure where this would have come up at. It would have been, and which coordinators meeting would it have been? But even researching the coordinators meeting, I don't see any mention of this purchase anywhere in any of the meetings. So this to me is just surprising me right now. I'd like to defer it until some of these questions can be asked and we could receive a new fleet schedule, because I guess the one that I have is not up to date. It says it's up to date in February 24, but I don't see some stuff in there. So there's numerous questions. So I guess my motion would be to defer this until the next meeting so that council has an opportunity to ask questions and dig more into it.
Thank you. Comments? Okay. We need a seconder to defer before we can discuss. Seconded by Councillor O'Neill. Discussion. Go ahead. Anybody want to? Go ahead, Councillor Ainsworth.
So I'm looking at this and looking at the CAO trying to save us some money by running it now. And it was part of the procurement plan. And if we get it now, of course, we'll save the money that then we're done until like 28 for any other purchases around. So I mean, unless there's, I mean, that's a good thing, what I'm seeing here. So, I'd be in. I don't know unless Council Booth has got some other issues why we shouldn't save that money. I guess that's what I'm trying to leave it up there.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
To your memorable to our chief administrative officer. I'm just wondering, I have read the document that came in last night. And I'm just wondering if he could walk us through it, because I see that it was, unless I'm wrong, this was okayed in 2023. So I guess if I could just ask for some clarity.
I would say with respect to time, that if a counselor is asked for more clarity, that delaying it for a couple of weeks is not a bad option.
Okay.
I can't say whether the manufacturer will move on or not. I've cited the information that was there based on the plan as well. There's been some movement of vehicles for sure. So I'm happy to discuss that further, but that would be a lot to go through right at this point. So
Okay.
if you wanted to set up a meeting with two counselors and the fire chief to go through it for clarity, I'm totally happy with that.
I haven't had really a chance to digest it myself, so I would appreciate a little bit of time to figure out a little bit more, is my opinion. Go ahead, Councillor Booth.
And I would agree, and to your comments, Councillor Ainsworth, I like the idea that we're saving money. It's just, I have numerous questions. One of them is just, what is the fire apparatus? It doesn't say what it is you're buying a pumper, a tanker, or whatever.
I don't want to get into the
That's why
details.
I don't want to either. So I would rather prefer that we sit down and go through it and somebody can explain it to, I thought maybe whoever was in the coordinators thing, because I don't see it in, it's come out of nowhere, right? So maybe it's as simple as sitting down and explaining it all to us or whatever, and then fine, I have no problem with saving money.
Who's on the board? Who's on the coordinating meeting? Okay. We have a motion to defer.
Should we motion to postpone, I believe? And we do need to include a date. this time.
Yeah, they're one and the same. I'm gonna call the vote. All in favor of delaying till later? Motion's carried.
It does say to have a date, so I think it should be the next.
Yes, and Councillor Booth did say that it was to come at the next November meeting.
Hasn't referred to that date.
Correct.
Thank you.
And Councillor Booth, you want to sit in on this?
No, it can be the ones that were on, I have no issue as long as, you know, if you want a mayor and a councillor or the two that were on the coordinators thing, that's fine. And then I can talk to one of them and they can explain it to me. Or go
What do you want to do?
Well,
I just-
Could we send the questions? I can email them the questions.
I see them.
So we've done. We've approved that. Okay. It's been recommended that that doesn't need to be discussed at this meeting. So we'll move on and make arrangements after the meeting is over.
Thank you.
Did you want to take a 10-minute break? Or a 20-minute break? Okay, can I move in a second or take a 20-minute break? Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover, second by Councillor Booth. We will be back at quarters 13 minutes to.
Sorry, is it still on this?
Stover and Booth, yeah. Yes, sir.